Today at Camp Pencil Point, we're drawing a lot. Warm-ups, sketches from a hat, and surprise, Emily draws a frog.
Let's draw some nonsense and tomfoolery.
We're back once again. And to all my Camp Pencil Pointers out there, welcome. My name's Jofu, and I am joined by Emily and Mary. Let's draw some nonsense and tomfoolery today. But first, let's all take a deep breath. Because over the last week, over the last month, maybe over the last year, we've probably been stressed out. We probably had a little bit of anxiety. Maybe we've been a little upset at our artwork. Maybe because we're suffering from a little bit of perfectionism. All right, I'm speaking for myself. So I'm going to take all that anxiety, all that stress, all that depression. I'm going to wad it up in a little ball right in front of me. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to hold it for the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to exhale, and I'm going to take all that stress, all that anxiety, all that depression, all that perfectionism. I'm going to push it out because I don't want it. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to take a breath in. I'm going to breathe in Camp Pencil Point and all the nonsense and tomfoolery. And we're going to go right into our drawing, and we're going to draw something ridiculous. So as you can see, I'm doing some Brain Noodle Doodles, just getting anything that's in my head out through my pencil onto paper. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be great. But as long as my pencil is moving and thoughts are flowing out, it's all good. This is a good habit to get into, at least 20 minutes a day. When people say draw every day, it gets daunting. You get a little worried. It's a little anxiety inducing. That's exactly the opposite of what you want. Just draw, have fun drawing, and if no one ever sees it again, it's fine. Just get your thoughts out through your pencil onto paper and just have fun. Besides that, Emily, Mary, thanks for joining us tonight. How are you doing? How are you both?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good.
Two people that are very good, or just good. I'm happy about that. Yeah. We're on the cusp of Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving holiday that we celebrate here in the U.S. If you do celebrate Thanksgiving along with us, happy Thanksgiving. Emily and Mary, how is your holiday? How's any big holiday plans?
Just the usual. Eating some pie.
Eating some pie.
I personally am looking forward to green bean casserole.
The world famous.
Mm-hmm.
That is the easiest thing to make and the easiest thing to eat.
That's so good.
It is really good. I know we've all been busy. Has anyone had any time off, or anyone getting time off for the holiday? Or are we all kind of working through? And we're not talking about our own stuff, like just the work you do to make a living stuff.
This is the busiest time of year for my job, so I'm working more than I am during the summer parts of the year, but it's okay. I enjoy it.
Okay. It keeps you busy.
Yeah.
Emily, how are you doing? How are you doing work-wise?
I think good. I'm trying to. It's a complicated question. I'm trying to rework some things, and so see how that goes. But I generally this time of year, I try not to get overloaded, like with work and with extracurricular and activities, and just because then it goes by too fast. And so you just keep it simple. That's what I'm learning.
Yes, we are on the cusp of an even bigger. This is kind of like the kickoff to an even bigger holiday season. Mm-hmm. And here at Camp Pencil Point, we're going to resume a great festival that we celebrated every year. We took a couple years off because of various things, but we're hoping to come back again with the Festival of the Tiny Ornaments. We're going to all draw ornaments on a shrink paper, some shrinky-dink paper, and we're going to record it, and we're going to post it up in future videos. We hope that you could find some shrink paper yourself and draw along with us and just have fun during the Festival of the Tiny Ornaments, which is coming up. I think we're going to start in 2 weeks. We're going to start the Festival of the Tiny Ornaments. So check out all of our social media. We'll be posting up our prompt list for that festival. And we hope you join us and draw something weird along with us. So, Emily, one of the things that you've done over the summer is a Renaissance Fair. And you've sold various pieces of artwork at the Renaissance Fair. You also created little sketches that you offered for trade. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you expand upon it.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was an interesting experience. I was doing painting demonstrations, and then I thought, well, I could offer these up for barter and trade, and that's what I ended up doing. I got a wide gamut of offers, from monetary to garbage. And but some of my favorite things are people would come with their own art to swap, or they would. Some people had like knitting material, and they would leave for the day, and throughout the day they would knit me something or look for a scrap of paper and draw something. And
that's cool.
And some people were aware of what I was doing, and so they would plan ahead even and come back with something. And yeah, the art ones, the ones that people created, were, I think those were fun. But I also got a lot of knickknacks, and people have things on them particularly for trading, which I wasn't aware that trinket trade was such a huge thing at the RenFest.
Well, that's cool. That's really cool. You showed me your treasures one time when I was over, and you basically sprawled them out across your table. Yeah. And it was like anything and everything you can hope to imagine in that pile.
It was overwhelming. The
amount
of stuff I'd bring home every week.
Yeah, and I know the RenFest went on for like 6 or 7 weeks, so you had like 7 weeks of collected stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was, like you said, overwhelming. It's just a lot. Pretty amazing that you did a sketch for most of those. Did you like do the sketches on the spot?
Yeah, I would do them during the day, and I would do batches. They weren't anything too complicated, so that was part of the trick, is doing something that I could do that's not going to overwork me, or I feel like, if I spent 8 hours on a drawing, you can't just give that away for a piece of candy. But these things I felt I was comfortable with.
Did you get a lot of candy?
I did. Well, not a lot. I didn't get as much food as I hoped for. I got a coffee, which is cool.
Oh, coffee.
Last year I got cotton candy.
Oh.
But yeah, so one lady offered me rocks, and I was very happy to get her cool rocks. But then her friend offered me some Welchers, the golden old people candy.
Oh, yeah, Werther's.
I was very excited. I was visibly excited, and I felt bad because I was more excited about that than the colorful rocks. But but she understood. They both understood.
I mean, treasure is in the eye of the beholder, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't ever been to RenFest, but that does, from what I've heard, that does sound like something that would be really popular there. A lot of eclectic people and different collections. I think you would get a lot of cool stuff, or colorful rocks might mean something. They both got a sketch, so they both got their treasure. And
so, based on the story that you told me, I thought it was a great idea. Like, I love the idea of trading a trinket, especially a handmade trinket, for artwork. So it's almost like a handmade trinket for a handmade trinket. I love that idea. So I'd love to engage in some trading of art in the future. But for this video, for this podcast, I did find a toy. We love our unboxing of certain toys, because toys are created by an artist, and they are little pieces of art, masterpieces themselves. So I found a toy to unbox for this video. I offered it up to all the artists of Camp Pencil Point, to Mike, to Mary, and Emily jumped on it right away. She said she was going to do a sketch in trade for this, and I have it. Where is it? Right over here. I did pop it open to make it a little easier to open up, but I'm gonna do this as we still do the warm-up sketches, the Brain Noodle Doodle. I'm gonna pop it open, and Emily, can you explain, because I don't know a whole lot about this character. I will preface it to all the young kids out there and parents watching with their kid. I wouldn't go playing this cartoon too much, or like Emily, you can explain a little bit more. It's a little rude, the humor is a little rude, but here is the video that I am unboxing. But Emily, can you explain what this is?
Yes, this is Shin-chan. He's from Japan. He was originally a comic, and I think has taken off into a lot of movies and animated series. I believe the original content of Shin-chan is kid-friendly. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know there's an English dub that is more well-known here and rude.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that English dub that's kind of rude, so I will once again reiterate, please use better discretion with younger kids, because the humor is like very crude, and it might be right up your alley, but it might not be. So be careful when you go into it. But I'm gonna pop this open. This is I guess it's a Japanese blind box. As various desserts. There are the desserts. That is him. So I'm gonna pop this open. There is one like surprise one. So let me pop this open. So Emily, for this you're gonna do a little drawing for me, and for that we're gonna do sketches from a hat. We have a bunch of random phrases that we are gonna pull out of a hat, and we're gonna draw those phrases. First of all, it comes with a case. I don't read Japanese, but there's something at the bottom of the case. There's like a bottom part to the case. So there's that. Over here, I put it over here. There are 2 donuts in a bag. So there. Yeah, you got something with a donut. That's the taste, the treat. And I don't know what this character is. It's not Shin-chan. I'm going to hold up my notes. I'm going to hold it against my notes so you can hopefully zoom in on him. I'm going to drop him first. There we go.
Oh, that's cute.
Can you see him? I don't know who this character is.
That is Shiro, Shin-chan's dog.
Shiro. He is wearing a donut. And he has like, I don't know if he's stressed or if he's sweating.
He's stressed a lot.
Is he stressed? Okay, yeah. There's a drop of sweat on between his eyes. So there he is. I think he goes right into. This is riveting podcast viewing. So hold up my notes again. There he is. Trying not to get the glare. There he is. What is his name? Shiro?
Shiro.
Okay.
Yeah.
There he is.
What do you do with the 2 donuts in the bag? They just go with him?
I have no idea. Let me look at the box.
Well, I'm a fan of Donut Puppy.
Donut Puppy is cute.
Well, perfect. To trade for Donut Puppy, Emily's going to draw a sketch. And we're going to pull a phrase from the hat of what that sketch will be. So there's Emily's drawing right now. The phrase that was selected from a hat is, "That's one crafty frog." That's one crafty frog. So Emily, you're going in on a white, maybe a white bristle board, and you're using a mechanical pencil.
Yep.
And you are doing a rough gesture of the phrase that is one crafty frog. So as you draw, and we hope you, the Camp Pencil Pointers at home, are drawing along with us, just like with the Brain Noodle Doodles, just let your thoughts flow out through your pencil onto paper. Just have fun. Don't stress about making a great drawing. Just get your thoughts out. Just have fun. Reconnect with your artwork. As you do that, Emily's going to draw on the screen, and we're going to have a little discussion. And today, we're going to talk about an unusual source of inspiration for art. Let's go back last week. We all came back for the first time in like 25 years. And I told you a very unusual source of inspiration for my art was Taylor Swift. Not that I'm a huge fan of all her songs. I definitely don't know all of her songs. I probably have heard all of her songs because Jamie's a huge fan. If I ever met Taylor Swift, I would let her know that I have heard her voice every day of my life for at least 2 hours. I did that to Stephanie Beatrice because I heard her not talking about Bruno for a long time. Mm-hmm. True story. So Taylor Swift, an unexpected source of inspiration for me. Obviously, I don't base all of my art on Taylor Swift, but her work ethic, the way she connects with her fan base, her creativity in songs, the way she's re-releasing her music in her own version, it's all very cool. I think it's very cool. It got me thinking to, like, we could expand the conversation to other things that are unusual sources of inspiration for our art. They don't have to necessarily directly affect our art, but kind of maybe give us a little motivation to draw. I'm not looking for direct, like, for me, it would be like anything, art by Jim Lee or art by Bill Watterson or art by Norman Rockwell or Star Wars or Marvel Comics or Disney cartoons or nothing like that, because those are direct inspirations and people could probably look at my art and be like, oh yeah, I could see that. I'm talking about really indirect, that people would be like, oh, that's weird, but that's cool. So I'm going to pose this question to you. I'm going to take a look at what Emily's drawing. It's very light. We could see some of the gesture coming through with that pencil. Emily, why do you want to talk a little bit before we get into the question about that pencil, the mechanical pencil, and why you use it?
That is, I bought a pack of them. I think just at Target or anywhere. It's always sharp, so that's nice.
Yes.
And yeah, it's just a nice pencil to work with. It erases easy. It's cheap.
Yeah.
So.
It creates a nice, consistent line that's light. So when you go in to erase the line work, when you erase the pencil, when you apply your ink, it's not that difficult.
Right.
I do use I use cheap pencils too from Target, but they're really thick and heavy. I believe they're meant for young kids, so they don't break the mechanical pencils often. But that often leaves a very heavy line that's not that easy to remove with an eraser afterwards. So, but like I press so hard when I draw. If I use the mechanical pencil that you use, Emily, I end up breaking the lead completely and end up having no lead ever left. So
there are casualties. Yeah.
There are a lot of casualties. Mary, what are your when you do a pencil sketch? What's your preference of pencil?
I also like to use mechanical pencil. I like 0.5 millimeter and 0.2 millimeter, so I have a very delicate one.
Okay.
It's taught me to be very light-handed. Otherwise, I also would have no pencil. But I've also been sketching a lot with ballpoint pen lately, because it makes me stick with my mistakes and kind of work with it. And it also helps me balance being light-handed versus heavy-handed.
That is actually a really good technique. If you find yourself being really, maybe I should start sketching in ballpoint pen soon, but that is a good technique, and like helping balance the being heavy-handed, light-handed with your art. So that's cool. Very cool. If we go down to Emily's sketch right now, she has gone in with ink pen. She's adding some inks right now. We've discussed what this pen is. Emily, do you recall?
I think it's Kuretake.
Kuretake. We don't know how to pronounce it. If anyone knows how to pronounce it, if anyone knows how to pronounce this, please post up comments below, like a phonetic pronunciation of it. We're going to try to fix it, but we don't know. But we love the pen. Do you use this pen at all, Mary?
I do not believe so. I do have a really
Emily.
fine point marker like that, but I don't think it's the same brand.
Okay. Well, Emily and I love it. Mary's doing her own thing, which is cool. Just as good. If I can make a comment on this frog, the motion so far that we're seeing, those wobbly arms, pretty amazing. You're getting some fun movement in the frog. I think it's holding two forks. Oh no, those are the hands. Those are the hands. It's just a lot of wiggle happening, and it's delightful. So I can't wait to see where this goes. But let's go to the question: unusual source of inspiration for art. Emily, how about we start with you? Is there anything that would surprise someone that kind of inspires your art?
Yeah, it's surprising where inspiration comes from, and you don't always expect it, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So a variety of experiences and, trying things new, I think. But funny, historical cooking
Yes.
has inspired me in various ways.
I could definitely see that. Yeah. So historical cooking, meaning like how people cooked like 50 years ago, 100 years ago,
like
1,000 years ago. Yeah.
Hundreds and thousands, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somehow it started, I don't know how I got into it, like 1700s early American cooking and frontier cooking and campfire cooking.
Yeah.
And then it's expanded into, global and like historic cooking. So there's a channel I watch, Tasting History, Max Miller.
Okay.
So that's, he goes into the cooking and the ingredients, and then from these ideas too with the cooking, early American and historical and global, it's their tools, and then it kind of bleeds into the clothes they wear, and then it bleeds into the tools that they used and what their kitchen was and what was the ground made out of. Was it dirt or straw? then that moves and that bleeds into what was their building made out of and how did they light it, and then that slowly bleeds into the content of my comics and drawings.
Yes.
And
I
yeah.
was going to ask and I love the phrase that you use, it bleeds into my comics and my drawings. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like totally soaked into like your thought process, or like you don't just draw historical cooking utensils. You let it kind of seep in. You kind of let it bleed into your art. So
Mm-hmm.
like how keep going. How does it bleed in?
Well, like the current project, the comic I'm working on is inspired by. It started off as not historical, Scottish folklore, and then it kind of turned into a historical piece because I'm learning about all of this, and then the comic and learning about this causes me to dive further into things and come across things. And like there's a scene where Edme's in her kitchen actually for a minute, and the little girl's in her kitchen, and so I already sort of had a vision or an idea to do this because of all the historical cooking and things that I've been interested in. Like there's a lamp in the background, but it's a Scottish oil lamp, and it's historic and it's accurate. I think historically accurate. So
Yeah.
yeah, a little detail,
Yeah.
but it all
And
adds to the atmosphere too. So.
yes. So that little bit of as you said, it adds to the atmosphere. It adds a little detail to your character and the environment. The environment is just as important of a character as the actual character. So like like anything that kind of drives everything forward is helpful as far as storytelling, as far as getting your story across. Let me talk about the frogs really quick because I'm loving like the patchwork is going on now. There's apparently a heavy hammer that one frog is holding up, another frog eating a sandwich on top of it. And there's nails in the other frog's mouth. That's pretty fun. That's pretty fun, Emily.
He's trying with all his might. He's
Yeah, I could see
to hold up
that.
the hammer with the extra weight.
Yes, I love the gesture in the arms. It does definitely show a struggle to lift that heavy hammer, and then not only the hammer but also a frog on top of that hammer eating a
Yeah,
sandwich. A,
he's probably
a,
unaware of.
a very delicious looking sandwich.
Yeah.
Anything you want to throw in, Mary, before?
I love it. I love how you interpreted the original phrase of "that's one crafty frog." I think it's so cute.
Thanks.
I love it.
Thank you.
It is great.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to like I think it's important because you've talked a lot about your art and a lot about your comic. Why don't you tell us about that comic and how it's coming along and any information you want to share?
Oh man, I could write a book about my comic making process because it's been years and it was a lot of stop and go and it was a lot of rethinking and reworking and deciding how I want to draw it, but now it's almost done. So any day now, really. The
And what
cover's done.
what do you want to tell us about what it's about and
Oh,
the
yeah.
story behind it?
Well, it's inspired by Scottish folklore, and I wanted to make a comic about Scottish folklore to expose other people to that. I grew up with Scottish influences, and so I guess I want to share that with everyone and indulge in it myself. But yeah, it's a young girl, and her grandma gets nanny napped, and so she goes off into the woods to find her grandma, to retrieve her grandma, and she meets a lot of characters from Scottish folklore along the way. Some to help her and some to cause her trouble.
So while we're talking about that, stay tuned to CampPencilPoint.com. We'll give you information on when that comic is finished and when it's done and how you can get it. So keep checking out CampPencilPoint.com. There you can check out everything that the artists at Camp Pencil Point are doing, and you keep track of all the videos that we're doing now. Let's go back to this sketch Emily's doing. A lot of fine details. We got about 2 minutes left in your sketch, Emily, so anything you want to kind of finish off with what's going on, or anything you want to point out?
Just using some textures to add shape and value, or like hints of shadows to things to help things pop, to help your eye recognize maybe more what's going on other than just a plain line drawing.
And I'm going to kind of expand upon that by saying it's not like you're adding a full, like a dark fill for a shadow. You're letting the texture and the line create the shadow. If you look at the texture in the hammer, it gets the lines get a little closer at the bottom of that hammer. That gives it a little bit of a, it makes it feel a little bit heavier. It puts it underneath. It gives it a little bit of shadow. So you've really controlled line work and not used an entire fill, so to speak, but you've created a fill with line.
Well, I don't know if we noted on, but working with the natural textures of things like the wood grain of the hammer, you can use that to show your value or shadows.
The other thing I want to point out is the amount of movement you've created with these frogs. Not only with those wobbly arms and the legs that are struggling to hold this hammer and this other frog up, but the hat that you just drew in, flipping off the frog's head, just great fun movement. It makes me want to laugh when I see this. So I am very excited to trade you for the Shin-chan toy. This is a great sketch. This is a great trade. I love it. It's very cool. Any final thoughts, Mary, before we go to final thoughts with Emily?
Yeah, just that it came out great. I love all the textures, and I love the little shaky lines to show that he's really struggling with that hammer. And I like the little heart you added. I thought that was really cute.
Yes.
Thanks. Well, thank you.
Emily, final thoughts before we move on to my sketch.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Good trade.
That was a good trade. Was it Shiro?
Shiro.
Would be, you'll get Shiro soon.
Yeah, thank you. You'll get your frogs.
Yes. All right, I am starting my sketch now. This is another sketch from the hat. It's just to kind of fill out time for the rest of this podcast. If anyone wants to trade me for it, I'm open for trades. But I pulled another phrase, and that phrase was Drew's Halloween costume. So Halloween, about a month ago, everyone, spooky season kind of started in July, and it went through to October, and then promptly switched over into the Christmas holiday season. We had a very extended stay with the Halloween, even though we're far past it. Let's revisit the spooky season, and this is Drew's Halloween costume. Post your thoughts in the comments below. If you can guess what Drew's Halloween costume is. Mary doesn't like these, but. And I don't know if Emily likes these either. But post if you know. I'll reveal what Drew's Halloween costume is later. But if you could figure it out what it is, let me know. Let us know in the comments below. But I am starting. You can see it looks like I have a very similar pencil to what Emily had, but it is a thicker lead. I believe it's a 1.2 millimeter or 1.4 millimeter. So it's a very heavy pencil. I'm using the eraser there, which I shouldn't, because you can't trust those erasers. But I used it anyway. A very rough pencil outline, a rough pencil gesture, just to make sure I can get everything on my page and everything sits. So we have about 20 minutes. If you could take maybe 10 minutes, Mary, if you have any thoughts, anything to talk about, a unusual source of inspiration for your artwork, what would it be?
It's interesting you've talked about how the Halloween season starts in July and goes through October and then promptly shifts over to the Christmas season. Because for me personally, Halloween lives every day of the year, 365 days. I love Halloween, and it's a big source of inspiration for me. Specifically kind of in that vein, I really like vintage toys and vintage dolls, like old school, like the creepy doll. I love those. I think that they can be kind of creepy, but also like really pretty and delicately made. And so that's like a big source of inspiration for me. When I sit down to draw, sometimes I just draw like from references of old school, like Victorian dolls or China dolls, that kind of thing.
So I'm going to kind of call you out on this, because I'm not surprised at all that that you're inspired by this, because I could see evidence of that in your artwork. Let's go into specifics. Like, is there any specific doll that you've come across, that you own, that you were gifted, Anything that...
I think.
Go ahead.
But there used to be one, but I don't really think I own any at the moment. But I've been really into looking at Madame Alexander dolls lately. They're a little bit
Okay.
That's like she was a woman who wanted to. She had China dolls that were really delicate and breakable, and she wanted to have kind of a version of that wasn't so breakable but was just as pretty. So she started casting the dolls out of less breakable materials like rubber and plastic. And I think I had a whole bunch of the ones that they used to give in McDonald's, like as McDonald's toys when I was a kid. So I had a bunch of those, and I've recently kind of circled back to using those as inspiration.
They gave these away at McDonald's? Like
yeah,
Happy
they
Meals?
were like little mini versions of Madame Alexander dolls, and I think they had like Wizard of Oz characters, and sometimes they were like Disney characters or like IP, and sometimes they were just original. So I don't know, but I had a couple of those when I was a kid. I don't think I have any anymore though, which is sad. I was sad looking at all my references.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's hard when you're a kid and you have everything that you love, and then you feel like you've outgrown it, but you really haven't.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have it anymore, and you wish you had.
And then you wish you had, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right.
Maybe a little bit more of an unusual inspiration. I also like to look at bugs, like close-up pictures of insects. Because if you look at insects really close up, they look like aliens. And I think that they look really cool and otherworldly.
All right.
That I don't usually draw like insects specifically, but I might look up close-up versions of them and kind of use that as inspiration for other elements of my artwork.
Okay.
Something a little bit less obvious, I think, than vintage dolls for me.
Yeah, definitely. Like the vintage dolls, the Victorian style, definitely not a surprise at all. But like insects, close-ups of insects, that's pretty. That is pretty out there. Like I guess I could kind of see that now that you bring it up, but I would never have said, "Oh, Mary just looks at a bunch of insects really close, and that's how she draws."
They're kind of cute when they're really close up.
Well, that's your opinion. Emily and Joe might be on the other team for this one.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't know, Emily. Emily, you like frogs, and if you didn't have insects, the frogs wouldn't have anything to eat. So
no, I think that's a very good source of inspiration.
Yeah,
bugs and plants and nature.
Yeah, it's a good source. Like anything nature-wise, that is like it all. It's a good source of inspiration because it all exists and it's all working. So like letting yourself be influenced by something that that logically works is a good thing. It's and artwork or storytelling or anything like that, character making, it makes a lot of sense. So that's a good one. Absolutely, it's a good one. Do you want Emily? Do you want to go into another one of yours? Because I know we've talked about this. And I feel like this segues right into another one of yours.
Yeah, are you thinking the natures in the garden and the bugs and the weird things I see in my backyard?
Yeah, so you're inspired by bugs too, but like in a good way, I guess. Like
Mary's way is morbid.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
intense.
Yeah, she was like they're cute. And I'm like, oh,
you
what?
See a praying mantis close up. They're kind of cute.
Yeah, that's not cute. As it's killing its mate. Oh yeah,
it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, let's go there. We'll just say that. Say that. So Emily, like, expand upon the idea of nature or other things like that.
Yeah, well, I think I encourage everybody to go out into the backyard and look under a rock because there's always something new there and weird and to see or to learn about. Bully polies was one of my big things for a while, and just it's insane. They carry their babies on their bellies, which is like hundreds of babies on their. Anyways.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's always something weird to know. One of the more recent ones is I went outside and all these flies were they're on the underside of a leaf, I think. Various leaves on this one plant. They're all facing the same direction, and I was like, that's really weird. and then I noticed they had white stuff on them.
Yeah.
And so I look it up, and it turns out that there's a fungus, like a fungus parasite that gets into the flies, and it, forces them to land in certain positions and die, and then it spores out of them, and that's how it reproduces.
It's rough.
Yeah.
It's a rough life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to go. It's a rough way to go. All right. Well.
But
All right.
I don't know how that'll influence my art, but it's in there, and it'll come
Yeah.
out someday.
Yeah. Well. I mean, I do notice a few bug characters in your artwork and such. So I can see that. I can see that inspiration. If I could go to the drawing of Drew in his Halloween costume for but a moment, he is. I want to say this: he doesn't have all 8 arms in his in the drawing. To be honest, putting all 8 arms in is very difficult, especially in a pose like this. But he has 2 arms like tucked in, maybe inside the costume. But I did try to get the 4 feet to at least get 6 of the appendages into the illustration. You don't have to guess, Mary. Anything you notice in the drawing?
Well, he's got nunchucks, and he's
Yes.
dressed as a bird. Is that a seagull, or he's like a ninja?
Well, he's dressed like a bird.
A ninja bird.
Ninja bird. Some good observations. I think I'm going to go in with some marker right now. Add some tone, some color. There's actually my scrap piece of paper. I know I explain why I use this paper a lot, but I'm going to explain it again just in case you're new. This is it's called a construction orange. It is a paper I got from French Paper in Niles, Michigan. I like the color. I like the tone. It's a good mid-tone for me. As you can see, like there's a warmth to it because I'm laying down a pure, hey, it's Hardy. I'm laying down a pure, like a 5 gray. Someone's at the door. It's like a 4 or 5 gray that I'm laying down right now, and it gives it a nice warm feeling to it. It does kind of take in the markers a little too much. The markers don't float on top of the paper like a good marker paper, but I still like the way it handles ink, and that's why I use this paper quite often in my drawings and my sketches for stuff like this. So, as I said, adding tone to the background, trying to keep it as flat as possible. And I believe it's a number 4 or number 5 gray. I think it might be a number 5 because it is going down pretty dark. Let me go over one of my unusual sources of inspiration, and that is, it kind of goes along the lines of Emily's historical cooking, but just any program about food, and not even so much about the creation, like the recipe of making the food, but it's like going out to other people's creations, eating other people's foods, and the first bite of that food, and the excitement, the pure excitement of eating that food is something else. And just that excitement of eating someone else's art. So, and that sounds weird, but eating their creation that they've crafted themselves, and the excitement that it gives is pretty awesome. And that excitement really inspires me. And it wouldn't directly. I don't have a lot of images of people eating food or characters eating food, but just that thought of the excitement that art can give, that instant excitement, is very exciting, very inspirational to me.
Yeah, I think I understand that. Getting excited about people who are excited about watching people be excited about things they're excited about, passionate about. I don't know. It's contagious.
Yes.
So.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of Ratatouille and how they made
oh
the food,
yes,
each food was meaningful to people, and it was
a different, like as Emile was eating the food,
yeah,
different explosions of color happened in his mind, but he didn't really understand.
And how the Ratatouille at the end is really meaningful to Ego, because that's what he grew up eating, and meant a lot to
Yeah.
him. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a with any art, I think there is like that reaction that we're looking for. Like we all want to like touch a viewer in such a way that'll bring up fond, happy memories, or like even the opposite way. We just want that reaction when we create artwork. So that is exactly what I'm thinking of. That's what exactly what my thoughts are. To talk about Drew's Halloween costume a little bit more, yellow is being added to the outfit, so that kind of plays a very important role in what his Halloween costume is. Again, if you have any thoughts, post them to the comments below. I will reveal what it is at the end of the drawing. I'm going to hit one more source of inspiration that's unusual to kind of close us out, and that is a craft store. And why it's unusual is because in a lot of what I talk about for art, materials are very important. When you go to a general craft store, art supplies are not as easy to find. You don't have the best quality art supplies, and if they do have really good art supplies, they're usually pretty expensive. I encourage people not to go to craft stores, especially like the chain craft stores, for art supplies. However, just going into a craft store, especially during a holiday, Halloween, Christmas, those types of holidays, it's pretty magical. It's a pretty magical place, and there's something really inspiring about these over-the-top, ridiculous designs and crafts and things that you could do and things that you could decorate your house with. Just putting the overabundance of stuff. It's a sensory overload, so to speak. Whenever I walk into a craft store during the holidays, and I get really excited, and it really inspires me for stuff like the Festival of the Tiny Ornaments, or for Halloween, or anything like that. So even though I talk down on a lot of craft stores for like the price of their supplies or their lack of supplies, I'm still into like the crazy holiday wonderland that stores create during the holidays.
It's not a craft store, but I like to go to Bronner's in Frankenmuth, Michigan,
Oh, yes.
and experience
Yes.
that. And you can go any day of the year, and it's like a Christmas wonderland in there. So I do feel very inspired by that. I
Yeah.
also, like, I know a lot of craft stores, they have the seasonal decorations and things that you can put in your house, or there's like Spirit Halloween. I like to go in those places and see the props that you can get to put in your house can be either very traditional or very random. And I think there's a lot of inspiration to be had in the really random ones. Things you wouldn't have expected to be there or really represent the holiday, or all of a sudden like incorporated into Christmas or Halloween or Thanksgiving or what have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think I agree. Looking at other products, or I like toys. They give you.
I think we all do.
You. Yeah, no, I understand.
So wrapped up Drew's Halloween costume. Put a signature on it. I did my traditional outline in a white gel. Added some yellow using Posca paint marker. I'm not a fan with the Posca paint marker on this paper, but it picked up in the end. It kind of got a little more opaque in the end, so I was pleased with it. But Emily knows what this is, but Mary, can I care to guess what Drew's Halloween costume is?
I've been trying to think this whole time what it might be, and I'm not sure. I think what I'm thinking it is, it couldn't be that, so I won't say.
No, you don't want to guess at all.
No, I don't think that's it.
All right. Pencil pointers, put your guesses in the comments below before I reveal what his outfit is. His costume. He is a goose. He is a goose, and he also is wearing the traditional yellow with black stripe outfit of Bruce Lee. So he is Goose Lee.
Goose Lee, incredible.
I'm sorry about that to everyone. Drew is Goose Lee. So there we go. A little sketches from the hat. Very successful sketches from a hat, even though Goose Lee was part of it. But let me remind you, if you like bad puns or crafty frogs, anything that consists of ridiculous drawing, check out camppencilpoint.com. All of our videos are listed here. We are going to post videos up every other week where we will draw various stages of weird stuff. So give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share, join us in our conversation, draw along with us. Have fun drawing some nonsense and tomfoolery. So I want to thank Emily and I want to thank Mary both for stopping by on the eve of this holiday in the United States. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good conversation, a lot of good drawing. I'd like to thank all of you Camp Pencil Pointers out there for stopping by as well, drawing some fun stuff with us. Before we go, let me say draw for at least 20 minutes every day. And don't let it be daunting. Don't let it be overwhelming. Just go with the flow. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece every time you draw. It could just be some brain noodle doodles. Just get it out of your brain through your pencil onto paper and just let it be what it is. You don't have to be satisfied with it. You don't have to show everyone what it is. But it'll help you in the long run to get stuff out of your mind and onto paper. And it'll help improve your skills too. Before we sign off, I want to say this. Remember, we're entering a tough time of year for some people. I want everyone to know this that's listening to me. No matter how difficult things are, remember that you are important and your artistic voice is important too. Don't stop creating. Don't stop drawing through this holiday season. Sometimes when you need it the most, all you have to do is get some pencil and paper and let your thoughts go. Remember, you are important. Your artistic voice is important too. And someone out there needs to hear your artistic voice now more than ever. So don't give up on yourself and don't give up on your art. So we'll see you in 2 weeks for the Festival of the Tiny Ornaments. We're going to kick it off in a couple of weeks. The holiday season kicks off right. We'll see you then in 2 weeks. For Mary, for Emily, and for Chef Miker, who's somewhere, thanks for stopping by. Now go forth and draw weird stuff. See you, everyone.